Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Miss Renee. Today is the 5th of September. We are in September this month already. I'm going to open up with a moment of silence for the addicts that's still suffering in and outside of the walls. Thank you, God. Okay. I'm going to open up with a prayer, which I always do. My gracious Heavenly Father, I thank you for allowing us to see the ending of another week. We in the month of September. I thank you for blessing all of us, the ones that's off the site, the ones that's on the sites. I thank you for allowing us to know what it is to be clean from an addiction. Many addictions, not just one addiction, many addictions. And I thank you. You know, I hope I might say something that can help someone. I might say something that can help someone find their way, which I've been doing, and I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful that we don't have to use no more. I'm also grateful that we are alive and well. There's so many things to be grateful for, God. I thank you. I thank you for everything that you have done in the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. I thank you for sending newcomers and they finding their way and they getting clean and wanting to have a mind and the willingness to stay clean. I thank you for that. My God, my God. Oh, hi, everyone. You know, tonight I wanted to talk about a few things that's been on my mind that's dealing with our disease of an addiction. You know, this disease is so evil and so ugly. And I just can't fathom how once the program, even though I know it's the disease, but this is what I want to talk about. The disease of an addiction is ugly. But what I really want to talk about is our behaviors and our attitudes and our character, that what makes us go back to drugs. You know, before I get started, I wanted to give a shout out. Rest in peace. One of the girls had passed in recovery, Randy. And Randy, everybody loved. She worked the program. I've been knowing her for years in the program. She cooked for everybody, fed them with the soul food method. And she would be missed. I did hear that. Her funeral would be September the 14th. Visiting hours 3 to 4, and then I believe the funeral is at 4. You have to go back and look on Facebook, because right now I don't remember the address, but I do remember the date. She is well loved and will really be missed, and that hurted me to my heart that one of ours have gone on to heaven. Thank God for the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program, because in this disease of an addiction, the program has taught me how to meet genuine good people. It has taught me how to love everyone in spite of their actions, their attitudes, and their behaviors. Because we all came in with behaviors, attitude, and defects of characters. You know, and I wanted to talk about something too that a couple of people's talked about. You know, I'm not the one that kind of stand around everybody and listen. But I want to say to the old timers, when the newcomers come in, hey Keisha, when the newcomers come in and they don't know that, they clean 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and they don't know, because we are old school, we are old timers. And so they don't know what some of the traditions are, and they don't know how they're not supposed to do certain things. But it take an old timer to tell them. It takes an old timer to explain to them. But not going off and putting them in Jump Street. And I say this because a lot of them is clean, but they still don't know how to identify with somebody rejecting them or somebody telling them in front of a lot of people's, they working on things. They've been clean 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, multiples of years and so on. But still, some of them come in. I've had some to call me and talk to me. And they have had some to come in. And you have to remember, they are recovering. And this person was really hurt, not by what he said, it's how he said it in front of everybody. When just speaking of me, I would have, after the meeting, took him to the side and just tell him that he can't do that or she can't do that. Instead of hurting somebody that's working on something and is proud to be clean. And us old timers, we really know what you can't not do and what you can do. But some of these newcomers try to mean well and do well, and yet, has been told what they should not do and what the traditions don't allow. But us old times know that, and I kind of felt bad because it put him in a whole nother frame. And I just want to say for the old timers, be mindful when you see somebody doing something in the program. Because see, stuff like that, if a person ain't really worked on something and they haven't really did what they and studied and understand the 12 traditions along with the 12 principles as well as the 12 traditions, it could have set a person off. I would immediately just told him to come outside and told him, and I guarantee he wouldn't have done that no more. But sometimes because we're old timers and we want to let a person know what they can't do, it can be a better way doing it. Okay. And I wanted to talk about that because that bothered me. And the way the person left and was hurt and didn't come back. And then he came back after people talked to him, but just be mindful, old timers. A lot of these newcomers, they come in and they're happy, their life is changing just like our life changed. Hey, Auntie Wanda, hey, Brooke Lowe, and Keisha, thank y'all for coming on here. But I just wanted to say, be mindful of what we say to newcomers. We have to be not gentle, but we have to respect the 12 traditions, but it's a better way to do it. Okay, now, we're talking about addiction. And a couple of people text me, more than a couple of people text me, and asked me to talk about how do they forgive and how do they let go and how is it that, a person can still be clean but still wants to use, and they heard about the craving. But look, it's our behaviors. We already know the drugs is addiction. We already know that. Hey, Auntie Evelyn, my auntie. We already know that the drugs and the alcohol and the pills and the weed is a addiction. It's a drug, and it becomes an addiction because we cannot stop. But what I really want to talk about is not so much the drug, because we all know what it takes for us to get high. We all know what it takes for us to not do it. But it's the behaviors and the attitude and the impulsiveness that gets us high. People's always want to say, "Oh, and it's addiction," and I know it's an addiction. I don't get it twisted. I know that, but you have to also know it's our our attitude and our behavior and our thinking that takes us back to using the drugs of our choice. If I didn't have a will and a mind to stay clean, no matter what, because obstacles and things gonna come into our life that's we gonna feel like that is one hurdle after another. But still, when you don't want to use, you don't use. But because of our character defects and our behaviors, take us to that point to where we forget about all the stuff we have learned in the program not to use, and how to stay clean, and why are we here, and what can I do. We have to study that, because, and the reason I said is more than just the drug addiction, and I've been saying it and I'm going to keep on saying it. You have to have a mind to want to change. People say, "Well, I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired of being without. I'm tired of going through." Look, life on life terms, you're going to go through. Satan is going to make sure you go through some things that you don't want to go through. Yes, he wouldn't have a job. That's his job. Hey, Camille. Lois, that's his job. To do everything that you don't like, to hurt you, to put you in the mind frame of you just want to give up. Satan is not no good person. And the drug is a demon. That drug is an evil demon. But we have to manifest and learn how to control our emotions, our feelings, our attitude, our behavior, because that's what get us high. That's what get us high. And for the ones that think you are, well, I do drugs and I just went on, and do you know when we come into recovery, get ready, things is finna happen. When we get clean and come into the program and start meeting good people and start feeling good and start doing things and smiling and dressing good, all that's good and dandy. But beware, some stuff is coming. And if you ain't working on nothing, your attitude, your behavior, your impulsiveness is going to take you right back to using again. So that's why I always speak of, we had more than one addiction. We had more than one addiction. So don't let nobody tell you we didn't, because we had a whole bunch of addictions before we even picked up. Because I didn't know nothing about drugs and my behavior and my attitude and my impulsiveness and my self-centeredness, my selfishness kept me using. My behavior, my self-centeredness, my impulsive, got careless. And that's why I kept using. But I'm telling you something right now. If you really want to stay clean, ain't nothing that can happen in your life if you really been rock bottom. I hear people say, I've been on rock bottom and I was going through and I went through and I lost my child. I lost my mother and my father. I lost this and that. Okay. That's life on life terms. But we don't have to use. It's our attitudes and our behavior that gets us to thinking, premeditated thinking when things go wrong and we want to use. And we have to also remember that the disease of an addiction is conning, and it's very powerful, conning powerful, and it will get you in trouble. So many people. Sometimes I just guess my heart gets into it. So many people, so many of my friends I just lost 3 fentanyl overdose, alcohol, drugs. But if you don't change the way you think and change the atmosphere that you in, if you don't change the people that you around, if you don't change, that disease will kick in. Especially hanging around somebody that you know they're still using or dibbing and dabbing, and you recovering, you know you can't do that. Yeah, this disease ain't no joke. This alcohol ain't no joke. But it's our behaviors and our attitude and our impulsiveness and our premeditated thinking what takes us to back using. Because when you come in and you've been clean 30 days, okay, that's telling me you on your way. That's telling me you done learned something. You starting to learn something. And now all of a sudden you've been clean 60 days. Okay, you still clean. You ain't used. You learning something. Okay, come on, 60, 90 days. Okay, guess what? Now you done learned enough to where you know you gotta surrender. You know you gotta accept that you can't use drugs. Just drugs don't win. If you get that in your head, no matter how much you drink or how much you use drugs or how much you pop pills or how much you shoot heroin, you ain't gonna never win. Ain't no winning in that. So why do we keep going in, going out? People say it's a disease. Yes, it's a disease, but it's really got something to do with your attitude, your behavior, your character, your impulsiveness, and your self-centeredness to still think that you can go back and get high and nothing else is going to change. It's going to be the same, but it's going to get worse. I ain't never seen an addict that came in and went back out and came in and went back out and told me it was the same. It ain't never the same. It gets worse. And I hate that I hate that this disease tell these people that it's okay to drink, but it's okay to get high. Or it's okay to shoot pills or do heroin, but you don't drink no more. It's okay to drink and not do nothing else. Alcohol is a drug. All of us a drug. Some people want to say, no, weed ain't no drug. It's a drug. Because most of the time when people smoke weed, they drink. And most of the time when the people smoke weed and that drink, they're going to try something new or try something different. I'm an addict. I know. I'm a recovering addict. I know. So many excuses. That's why I say, hey, Peggy, how you doing, baby? That's why I say you have to be mindful of the people you hang around. As soon as you stop wanting to go to a meeting, as soon as you stop disappearing from a meeting, soon as you stop doing the things that you normally did to stay clean and was doing so good and feeling good, didn't you realize that once you get clean, things still gonna happen? Satan still gonna throw hurdles and balls and everything else at you because he wants you back to the unknown. He wants you to stay in the misery of your addiction. Why people can't get that? When you stop doing something that you do, I don't care about. Look, when people say, well, I don't go to meetings no more. I got God in my life and I'm clean. Okay, that's cool. I get that. I got God in my life. I go to church. But I cannot stop going to my meetings. I can't. I don't care. Whatever y'all tried to do, that's on y'all. But I've been going to meetings over 35 years. And so I ain't stopped. And you know why I win? Because I don't stop. You know why meeting makers make it? Because they go to committed. That don't mean you got to go to meetings every day. It don't mean that you got to live in the meetings. It don't mean that. It means that anything that's been good for you and good to you, you must continue to do. You must continue to bring something good into your life. And not just this week, not just that week, every day of the week in order to recover. But I see it. I don't say nothing. People's drink and they don't do crack no more, but they drink. Trying to make an excuse for one drug to another. I have seen so much in recovery. I've seen people come in and out. Yes, they still are recovering addicts or addicts at the time that they go back out. This ain't no joke. People come in and, they laugh and talk and we cry and we hang together. But this disease, you can be doing so well and all of a sudden something can happen. Something can happen. And let me tell you something. I got high even when it wasn't something bad. Just good news. Just being happy, I got high. And then people have an excuse to use. I tell people, if you're going to stay out there, you have to stay out there until you get it. Until you have that right mind to come back in and do things right. You will not win using drugs. I don't care what kind of drugs it is. I don't care, because if I start smoking weed, I'm going to want to take a drink. And once I take a drink, I'm going to want to do something else. See, I'm not delirious. I know I can never use again. I know I have to stay hooked up to something that's good for me and that's going to benefit me. This addiction, it don't care who it hurt. It don't care who it kills. It don't care who it let down. It don't care how they turn your life around. That's his purpose. And addiction is terrible. And sometimes we can get all over the place. But see, I've been all over the place before. But I'll tell you one thing. I did what the 12 steps of narcotics told me to do. And I called my sponsor, or I called somebody else, or I called somebody that's really good in talking with me and that's not going to play games with me. See, I'm not exempt from being all over the place. I'm not exempt from that. I'm not going to go through and things as you going to go through. But you got to clean up your behavior. You got to clean up your attitude. Don't get in the meetings and think you know everything, because that ain't what the meetings is for. The meeting is for helping another individual stay clean along with yourself. Coming in trying to hurt a newcomer or saying something, like I said, some of these newcomers don't know. But I did a lot of stuff when I first came in that I didn't know, that the old timers had to take me and tell me, but they never fronted me off. They never hurt me in front of nobody. What they did, they took me to the side and said, Renee, you got to read your traditions, and we can't do that in here. We can't tell somebody about another place, or we can't give out flyers, and you can't do that. I done it. But the old timers, they took me to the side. And they showed me what they was working on, because they wasn't the ones that came in, they came in trying to help people. And that's where I'm at. I don't ever want to use again. And I tell you all the time, I will not use. Y'all don't want to use again. That's why some people that come out, they stay out. They don't mean that they're using. They take a break from the meetings, or they life gets so important that things is going on in their life. But I ain't never stopped going. Only time I ever stopped going to a meeting for 2 years was COVID. When COVID hit, a lot of our friends died at the 12 steps, and they were clean. They were clean and working a program, and I was scared to go to, much as I love meetings, I had to go online. And it was a difference. But it was still talking about our disease of an addiction. And I learned one thing, that I have to follow the rules of the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, the 12 traditions, and apply the 12 principles. I told y'all I was going to get into that. I'm studying it. I don't want to get on here and say something that might detour somebody or not be truthful. And when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I want to get into the 12 tradition. So newcomers, when they come in, they understand what we can and cannot do in the meeting. It ain't one person's meeting. It's all of our meetings. You know, meetings are important. If we let people come in and do what they want to do, then we're not following the 12 steps, 12 traditions. So we have to keep that all in order, you know, and it's just a better way to do that to me than to, you know, just a better way to do that. Because a lot of these newcomers, they don't know. You know, they trying to just stay clean and get themselves together and get their priorities together. You know, staying clean is a gift. And I say it all the time. And the reason why I said it was a gift to me, because it made me work on all my addictions. Like letting go of holding resentments, you know, hating somebody to the core. I never knew hate could turn a person to where they isolate so bad. That was me. I never knew hurt could hurt so bad because of what someone done to you or you done to somebody could hurt so bad. See, when we come into recovery, we don't just come and just identify ourselves as being an addict. We come in to clean our mess up, to clean our mind up, to free our soul up. So when we come in already humbly, don't know how to accept it. I didn't know nothing about recovery. I didn't know nothing. All I knew was how to get high. All I knew is how to lie. All I knew is how to steal. All I knew is how to manipulate. We all know that. All that comes with the form of using. Yes, it's an addiction. Yes, it's good to get on here. You know, they want to say, get back on here and do more things. No, I'm okay where I'm at. If I want to get on here and I'm hurting, I want to talk, I can do that. Get on here and say something that might help somebody. But this ain't a game to me. This is my life. This is what has brought me to love better, to not judge peoples no more. One of the worst peoples that I was a judger. I judged everybody, but I never looked at myself. And when you don't look at yourself and your characters and your behavior and your premeditated thinking and your impulsiveness and your greediness, you're not going to win. I had to come in and break it down. I had a lot of addictions. Yeah, we know about drugs. We know drugs is a chemical dependency that we put into our body. And once we put into our body, you know, we keep wanting and we keep wanting and we keep wanting. But what make us want it? Other than the cravings, what make us get up and go get it? What make us start thinking about it? What make us go do that footwork to go get the drug of choice? What make us take a drink? What make us pop pills? What make us shoot up in our arms? What make us our behaviors, our attitudes, our characters, our impulsiveness, our self-centeredness, you know, that's what keep us to getting high. Unless y'all ain't human. Unless you ain't human. Because see, I'm human. And I know that I kept wanting to do the same thing. So guess what? My behavior was an addiction. My attitude was an addiction. My self-centeredness became a big addiction. My impulsiveness Without thinking, just go ahead and go get it. Not think about the consequences. Not think about what the drug gonna do. Not think about all the time I'ma use that I surrendered and had some acceptance, but I took all that back due to my self-centeredness. See, we can go back because we premeditate things or how or what somebody did to us. Do you know how many times I've been hurt in my life? Do you know how many times Peggy, Wanda, LaCuria, Camille, or whoever's on this site, do you know how many times we have been hurt? How we have been justified as being a nobody? You know, so I ain't just talking about me, because I know if you're human now, if you ain't human, you don't have to understand and agree with me. We beat ourselves up. And that's why when we come into recovery, when I talk about other addiction, it was other addiction before I even knew about a disease, before I even knew about drugs and alcohol. It was a disease of me wanting to pick up, try something new. I didn't know none of that. Only thing I knew was that I found the way to use my addiction to start doing other things like lying, like prostituting, like manipulating. See, all them are addiction, because see, as we do it, we keep on doing. And whoever tell me that they ain't lied in recovery to get another hit or one more, I ain't gonna even tell you what I would tell you, but you know you're lying. Because see, the disease of an addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. So that means it can take over at any given time. That's why I tell you I'm just 1 minute away, one hit away, just like everybody else. But the best thing that I got that maybe somebody else don't have is that I worked on my behaviors. I worked on my character. I worked on my other addictions. I worked on my lying. I worked on my manipulate. I worked on trying to hurt people because I was hurt. These was all addictions for me. And so when we come into recovery, these people just ain't got an addiction problem. They got behaviors, attitude, how to have patience, how to work on themselves, how self-centered they are, how impulsiveness they are, cunning they are. I ain't know nothing about being no con artist until I became addicted to drugs. I can con you out of anything. I can lie to you to get some more money so I can go get some more drugs. So, it ain't just the drug addiction. The disease is still there. That disease ain't going nowhere. I've been clean all these years and I still have that disease in my whole body. It ain't went away. And when I stop using the things and the tools that I use, I can go back at any given time, just like everybody else. I'm not exempt from nothing. I don't act like I'm I don't act like I'm better than nobody else. I ain't trying to come in as the Miss NA person. I'm just as humble because I had to learn how to get humble. I had to learn how to be humble. I had to learn how to stay humble. I had to learn how to work on my self-centeredness. You know, self-centeredness will take you places that you don't want to go. So that was addiction that I had before I even picked up the disease of the drug addiction. And people's come in here all the time. All you got to do, I listen to people's stories, how they was on drugs and how we was prostitute. That was me. How we lied. That was me. How we manipulate. That was me. How we hurt somebody because we was hurt. That was me. I can relate to all that because all that fell on me. All that falls on people that use drugs. Because once you put them drugs in you, then you are no longer yourself. You just ain't yourself. I just wasn't myself. You know, and then you get clean. Then I got clean, and then all of a sudden started happening. You know, stuff started happening. You know, I got clean, and you know, I was feeling good. I was dressing good. But guess what? I still had some behaviors, some character defects that I knew that was going to take me back there if I didn't address them other addictions. I had a lot of them. Okay, Miss White. Come here. I had a lot of them. And then when you come in and you come into recovery and they're telling you about this disease, how we are counting and, the drug is counting the baffle. But then I realized something. Okay, I'm clean now. I've been clean 6 months, but I still got these character defects. I still got these behaviors. I still got this self-centeredness where I can do what I want to do long as I don't use drugs. Okay, so I got it. Once I started working the program and started reading, and reading about me, because the whole book's about us, because we are recovering addicts. And some of us are still addicts, because some of my friends and peoples are still out there. But see, I had to learn I can't go around wanting to save them, and that's what I used to do, and get in trouble. I can't do that. Only thing I can do is suggest you to go to a meeting. I'll pick you up, take you to a meeting. I'll go with you to a meeting. But I can't carry you, because that was another one of my addictions, that when before I came into recovery, I tried to carry everybody. I was the man arc of the family. I tried to recover everybody. I tried to help everybody. And guess what? That's why I nurture me now. I tell people, if you don't nurture yourself, if you don't tell the truth, if you don't get honest, if you try to sit back and still think that you ain't using drugs, but yet you ain't worked on your character, you ain't worked on your evilness, you ain't worked on your behavior, you ain't worked on your self-centeredness, you ain't worked on your premeditated thinking, you going back. On my mother, I'm not lying, you going back. Because people, they disappear and they come back in, and then you find out that they use, and that's go. They still in the program. They still one of us. But if you don't work on that, you're going to keep going back relapsing. You're going to keep going back and nip and dab. But see, what I'm scared of, and this ain't no joke, the way the world is, they putting stuff in our food, stuff in the drugs. I'm too scared to touch anything. That's the honest to God truth. I remember one time I wasn't scared to touch no drug. I didn't care. If you tried it, I tried it. You do this, I do this. I was a follower. But see, now I had to learn how to be a leader, because I was a follower so many years in my life. And now I'm untouchable. Long as I got a God of my understanding that's helping me, that's carrying me, that's giving out the message, receiving the message, I can't lose. I'm going to never lose. Because I'm going to always go for the best. Because when I was using, I was that dope fiend. I was the best dope fiend. I thought. I was the best crackhead. I was the best alcoholic. I thought, because I put on a little makeup and dress up, I was one of them cool users. I was one of them ones that could dress up a lie in a minute. I was everything but what I wasn't. And now that I found a program that I can go night, morning, evening, and go to a meeting when I'm going through, because I am going to go through the hardest time in my life. And I know it had to be the help of my NA peoples, my AA peoples, my CA peoples. All of it is Narcotics Anonymous. I knew it had to be the help with them and the God of my understanding, because I wasn't for sure all them years I had. And when I lost my mother and my son, my boyfriend, and my godfather, I lost 4 people back to back. Don't tell me Satan didn't try to get me to use. Don't tell me Satan didn't try to make me think that I could sneak and go use. Don't tell me that Satan didn't try to say, look at you, look, your mama dead, your son dead, your boyfriend died, your goddaddy died, and where's your God at now? Satan talked to me like that because he's a punk like that. He talked to me like that because I listened and was receiving that. But until I put in my head, the God of my understanding got a message for me. And he going to give it to me. And I knew he's going to give it to me, you, or everybody else. Things will happen. You know, I tell y'all about my life because I ain't ashamed of it. Because if it had not been for the God of my understanding, I would not be here. He helped me. He helped me to identify what was going on. Because I stayed hooked up to the meetings. I stayed hooked up to my sponsor. I was doing service work. When I see everybody do service work, it's so remindful to me because I didn't do nothing but service work. I was running recovery houses. I was doing transportation van. I did it all. And through the grace of God, he kept me around so I can help other people and identify what they was going through within their lives. I ain't gonna never give up on recovery because recovery don't give up on me. It ain't never gave up on y'all. It's we choose to move ourselves out the way. We choose to not go to a meeting. We choose to not be honest. Then and see, this is what I get scared of. If I stop not going to a meeting, if I stop doing anything that's maintaining my recovery, if I stop, guess what? I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. That's the same way where I tell myself, you know, I don't go to church this week. This ain't I'm just speaking of me. If I don't go to church next week, I don't go to church. I don't go to church next week. I keep not doing it. Guess what? I ain't going to go. And then I'm going to fall off. Then I go to say, I ain't going to no meeting. I ain't going. See, it's easy for Satan to make us think we don't need that. And we don't need that. We don't need something that we've been getting for years. But now all of a sudden we don't need that. Conning, baffling, and powerful. And so I have to remind myself that we are somebody special. Because I feel like anybody that comes in off the street, anybody that's dealt with drugs and alcohol, this disease they call an addiction, and you can come back in and help another individual and talk about your recovery and talk about what you went through on an honestly level, you got to be honest in this program to work it. Because if you ain't honest, you'll find yourself going back. You'll find yourself running to something because something pissed you off or something made you mad. Something, set you off. Or something hurt you. Because when I lost the love of my life, my mother and my son, and when I lost that, man, I had to grind on something. I had to call my sponsor. I had to go to my women's. It was called the Women's High Steppers. I had to call them, and they came over here. Thank God for the NA family. I really do. I thank God for the NA family because the NA family has showed me nothing but love. Let me tell you something. I got some peoples in my family. I ain't never know what it is to love them until I got clean. And some people that I just can't deal with and talk to, but I can talk to the peoples in NA. I can talk to my members. I can talk to my family. See, I have a whole nother side of family. I have a new family. I love my family now that God gave to me, but God also gave me a fellowship family. I feel excited because I'm going to the convention this weekend. I haven't been to a convention in a while. And so something told me to go to the convention. Because it's right here in Milwaukee, and, I don't like leaving my kids with anybody and everybody, and that's why I don't take the trips and go sometimes like I would like to. But I made a commitment to them just like I did to the NA, and I'm changing lives all the way around. I'm dealing with adults. I'm dealing with kids. Kids got feelings too. Kids going through because most of their parents is in, that's on drugs, alcohol, trying to get their lives back together. And some of them don't get it back together. But kids have feelings too. And they remind me of that every day. To love somebody else's and to help another individual is a gift. And everybody can't do it. It's a gift. And I know I need the spiritual side as well as I need the NA. I'm keeping both of them. I love both of them. I just got to be honest. I love both of them. I love the spiritual part that keeps me connected to the God of my understanding. Ain't a day go by that I don't have a conversation with the God of my understanding. Ain't a day go by. I could be in the store. I can be at the movies. I can be wherever. Ain't a day go by where I'm going to have a conversation with the God of my understanding. And don't let me be hurt, or don't let somebody hurt me. Boy, I know God get tired of me. I have a conversation from the time I wake up and hit that floor. That's how grateful I am. Gave me hands to use, to read, to help another visual. Gave me eyes to see things that I never seen before. Like when we had this water thing, I would have never thought I would have seen the mama and the 3 ducks rolling in front of my house in all this water. And I said, God, thank you for the eyes to see that. The grace of God is what's keeping us. And I remember a time in recovery, they didn't want me to say nothing about God. I mean, I fought. I mean, most of them are gone now. I'm just going to be honest. Most of them are gone. Told me I couldn't talk about God. I couldn't do none of that. It was another level. But see, I kept sticking and staying. I kept going to the meeting, kept following the old timers, kept wanting to be different, kept wanting to work on change, kept wanting to give myself the best. You know, when we come into recovery, we already been burnt up. We come into recovery to get ourselves together, to understand what part did we play. Guess what? We played the biggest part. I played the biggest part. Hey, Contessa. I played the biggest part. Hey, Michelle. I played the biggest part. I played it. I played the biggest part and let people hurt me. I played the biggest part trying to nurture everybody but leave me out. I played the biggest part on hating and holding resentments and carrying resentment. I did that. And once I took accountability to tell myself I need to change. And if I can change and see the change, I'm going to keep the change. And I have. Can't nobody hurt me no more. I think I done been hurt. I think when my mama died and I drove down there when my son died, when people that I love died, that was a gift from God to allow me to have spent all them years with them and allowed them to love me and to allow them to be in my corner, to be around my space. And it was a good corner and space to be in, and to see them, you know, it hurted me, but I know my mother, I had the best mom in the world. I know some of y'all all think y'all got the best, but I had the best mom in the world. Never condemned me, never talked about me, always tried to build me up. Always tried to nurture me, but she couldn't do it all because I didn't accept her doing it all. I kept being a butthead. I kept being a liar. I kept being a manipulator. I kept hurting her. I kept doing all these things to me. And it's so sad when you go back and look back and you come in, you clean, and you done open up a door where you're clean now, and you can see all your faults. You can see all your behaviors. You can see. And then I turn around and I see change. Can't nobody tell me that an individual like me can't change. Well, you used to talk about me, it would hurt me. Now it helps me. Well, you used to laugh at me. Now I laugh with you. You used to call me out my names, but now I pray for you. See, things have changed in me. I don't care if nobody see it. You know, my brother told me the other day, he said, Renee, I see you done changed. Oh, it wasn't me. It was the God of my understanding that helped me, that's in me, change. Because the things and the resentments and the hurt things that I had felt for you and other people's that hurted me, that I thought that really hurted me. See, I carried that. That's why I kept getting high. I didn't know how to deal with people and rejection and detachment. I didn't understand how to deal with it. I just started drinking and drugging and getting high and snorting stuff up my nose was the answer. But it wasn't. It kept me at a place in my life where it was not a good place to be in. It was so dark. It was no light. It was all terrible. I helped on so many things. Not being grown. I helped on things from being a kid. I helped on drama, the things that I have seen that I didn't like, that hurt me and frightened me. I helped on to that. That's why I ate so much. To fill a void. That's why I ate so much. That's why I was unhappy. That's why I was miserable. That's why I didn't know how to deal with resentments, anger, mad, rejection, hurt. You know, I didn't know how to deal with it until the 12 steps, until God introduced me to the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. And I really started working a program, and God started dealing with me. God always, I was a praying addict, and I'm a praying recovering addict now. But back then I was a praying addict. Because once you've been brought up in the church, you can't lose the God of your understanding. There's no way. So people ask me, one court lady girl asked me a question, say, she texted me a couple of days ago, and I just seen it. And she texted me, she said, Miss Renee, and she said, I got on YouTube and I saw you on YouTube. She texted me, she said, and I said, okay, how did I look? You know, because I ain't seen myself on YouTube yet. Everybody else said they see me. How'd I look? She said, Miss Renee, she said, you was talking about a point of how people have hurt you and you have learned how to let go. She said, that really helped me. She said, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you put your number on where I can text you or call you at any given time. That's it. There you go. If I can do one or help somebody, I did the deed for the day. I ain't never going back. And when I say that, get ready. Because I know Satan is coming. He been coming at me for about a couple of months. I mean, back to back. But if I had not been working on change and working on other addictions, I could not manifest that in something good. See, it's all good. No, because I know how Satan works and I know how God works. God is a loving and kind God, that he'll help us in any situation. He'll helped us the unseen things that was finna happen, that we didn't even see that was finna happen, but he moved it on out the way. And then he, on top of that, he still nurtures us and tell us when we wrong. You know, I remember when I used to go in the store and I wanted to steal a pen or steal some candy, and I can hear him say, Renee, you know that ain't gonna right, you're gonna get caught. But my self-centeredness and my premeditated were taken anyway. See, that's why I said them was addictions. And people don't seem to realize that you have many addictions. You know, you had addictions before you even had the addiction of recovery. You had things you started doing when you was using, or even when you was using and you didn't know nothing about recovery. You still had some addictions that started young until your adulthood, and it came on you until it got too bad, until it manifested in you using every day, living to use and use to live. That was me. I used every day. Ain't gonna lie. If it wasn't drinking, if it wasn't smoking, if it wasn't popping no pills, I couldn't deal with this brain of unforgiveness and holding on to resentments and not hating somebody, not having no more peace or joy in my life. That was gone. I had to pretend everything. I had to pretend everything. Every smile, every look. Now I don't have to pretend. It is what it is. I got this little suit said it is what it is. It is what it is. I worked on something. I worked on the characters and the defects and my self-centeredness and my impulsiveness and my premeditated thinking, my overthinking, my intellectual thinking that I know everything. Hey, don't nobody know everything. But we got some of these people think they know everything. And that's one of the things I had to let go of. I don't know everything. I am learnable and I am teachable. As long as I don't forget them two things, then something right has happened to where now I can nurture myself. The biggest gift. This is why I say it's a gift. Let me explain to you why I said it's a gift. It's a gift because the way I used to steal, I don't steal no more. The way we used to think and meditate and overthink, I don't do that no more. The way I used to hurt people because I felt messy and hurt, I don't do that no more. I used to prostitute and used to date nothing but married men. I don't definitely do that no more. You know, and how I used to sit in the corner and pray and get high and pray and get high and pray and get high. I don't do that anymore. I got the best high in the world. Best high in the world. In dealing with the NA of Narcotics Anonymous program. I can't get no higher than I've been. I'm at a high to where, you know, whatever happens, whether it's good or bad, it's still my job to fix it. And let God be the driver. Put a little hand in it and let him do everything else. Because every day ain't going to be a perfect day. Every day ain't going to be a good day far as things happening, but it's a good day that I'm clean. I didn't pick up. I ain't using. I ain't premeditated thinking. I ain't changing my characters and defects so I can go and get one more. See, when you work on change, it's a gift. And people don't realize because they don't look at the gift. They look at it like they just stopped doing it and because of the 12 steps. No. The 12 steps of addiction, 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. Yeah, it's a gift because each step tells us about us. And we don't know what step is us until we read it. But guess what? Every step that I work on and read, it was about me. It was how to let go. Come to believe that a power greater than myself. Had to admit to God and to another human being the exact nature of my wrong. How to ask God to remove all these shortcomings and these character defects and behavior. Had to learn how to sort through prayer and meditation. You know, I had to do all that. Everything in this book ain't just for a person that used drugs. Because if you think I'm lying, try. It's for people with all addiction. I had a gambling addiction. I stayed at the casino. Girl lost a truck. Casino. Didn't pay. No, I paid my rent. I ain't never went without paying. I was too scared I was going to get put out. But I did a lot of stuff. That I was a gambling hog. I was everything. Everything that you could think that a person can be, I was it. I'm not ashamed. I'm guilty. I'm not ashamed and I'm not guilty no more. I ain't trying to hide. I ain't trying to pretend. It is what it is. I am a recovering addict that I paid the price to be here. When I tell you we paid the price to be here, I ain't talking about just me. I'm talking about y'all too. Y'all had paid the price to be clean and to get 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year and multiples of years. Don't nobody just do that without being in his grace. You know, something happened, your mentality of your thinking and changing, but you got to do more than that. You got to work on your other behaviors. And some of you did. You work on it, you work on it, you work on it. It's a process. It's a process we learn to work through. It's a process we learn not to give up no matter what. It's a process we learn not to use again. You know, and I ain't using. And I done been through some stuff. You know, it's all a gift. You know, every time I go in there and I go and put on my little makeup, you see that? I ain't ashamed. I used to be so ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I got shot with a .357 Magnum, tore my ear off. I ain't ashamed. It's a gift. It's a gift that I got clean so I can realize that I'm still alive, and it's a gift. I don't care how I look. I'm alive. Second chance at life, living on another person's kidney. It's a gift. Had I not been clean, had I not been working on something, had I not been putting myself in a situation to change, I wouldn't have got the kidney. So when I tell you all this that comes into your life when we in recovery and we work on a program and we going to meetings, I don't stop going to meetings. Only 2 years that I stopped going to meet was COVID. I did not want to get sick. I couldn't get sick. So all of us are gift. And I wanted to tell you all, then it went off. Oh, come on. Why do it do that? I wanted to tell you, put it back on. I wanted to tell you, I didn't touch it. I wanted to tell you all, I thank y'all so very much. That's what somebody should have checked. Thank you. I thank y'all for coming into my life. Auntie Wanda, Camille, whoever comes on this site, it's a blessing. And to be a blessing, to be a blessing is a gift. I thank you. I take y'all for I don't take nothing for granted no more in my life. When I get on here, it ain't just for you or other people's. It's for me too. Because I'm human. And we all going to go through a stage in our life that we going to be hurt, or someone going to hurt us, or someone going to mistreat us. But what I tried to tell y'all is work on your other behaviors, not just using. Because if you work on all your behaviors, you won't have to worry about going back to use. And that's the key. It's the mentality of how you think, how you working on self, how you working with your addictions, and so you won't go back to using again. So I thank y'all. I thank for both of my aunties, Aunt Wanda, who I love, my auntie that's in Louisiana, Aunt Evelyn. I thank you for Camille, all the other names, Robbins, all the other names that get on here after I get off. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to get over 300, 400, 500 viewers. It's a blessing. I ain't trying to be no show off. I'm just trying to tell you that a God of my understanding has me to recover and work on change. And that's everyday change. Every thought, the way I think, the way I act, what I do, who I can help instead of hurt. That's a gift. When I used to hurt instead of help. Well, I used to hate, but now I love. When I used to didn't have no joy, now I got peace. So everything that happens when you deal with the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous, I'm so grateful to the 12 Steps Anonymous because that was a gift put in my lap. And I thank God. I thank y'all so very much. I thank you. I thank Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday. And Sunday, I know for a fact we'll be on step 4, made a searching and fearless. That's mine. Oh, that's my nitty gritty. No, I was on 3 last week. Made a decision to turn my will in my life over to the care of God as we understood him. Yeah, we on step 4. See, making a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves. I'm on that one. That's a good topic. I'm going to do some searching. And I thank y'all. Oh, it didn't let me cut off. Why my phone? Y'all shouldn't even put my phone on the charger. But see, I know, but she don't be looking at how much time I got or nothing. I couldn't even finish it. She so fucking be on her phone or want to do shit else ever since she got that damn phone. See what's wrong? She could have told me, I know it's dead. I didn't finish it, so how's it going to finish?
I don't know. I gotta charge it. I don't know.
Girl, what the hell? Girl. She was, yeah.